Starting recording. Hi and welcome everyone. Good to see such a full crowd. And yes, I wrote shortly in the invite what I aim to discuss. Before that, do we have any questions hanging in the air, wanting to find an answer? Maybe not. So I'm gonna share my screen. Entire.
I don't know if you're going to talk more about AI, Hans.
Yeah, gonna bring that up a bit. What we call vibing things, meaning that you don't really put in an effort. You just push a button and sit down, sit back and wait, see what happens. So that's one topic that we can talk about and where we're going with that. And then, Damien, I'm not sure on the status for you because last we spoke there was some issues with the syncing between your fat clients and your turnkey clients, and that shouldn't be the case. So we need to fix that if that's still an issue.
I haven't had any time with that problem. I honestly, my instinct is it's the type of what I would call a WinForm control. Some seem to auto update in view models and some don't. So I think it's got to do with my modeling and not the tool, but I haven't gotten any further.
Okay, good. So we will get back to that when time is okay with you, so you know more of the facts. Good. What I wrote in the invite was, let's see, was this. You guys see my screen? Good.
Yes.
So, some new stuff and answer questions. So, there's a new ability to have mounted view models inside list views. So this actually didn't work very good before. And I will tell you why it didn't work. So how can I show that? I'm gonna just take one of these view models here. Let's see, this one. Store location it's called, and I've been vibing a bit, so I'm gonna clean it up. What's this then? So suppose that you wanted this list of store locations to be a list view. The first thing is to add placing containers to that so that there will be list views, a list view here, but then maybe one would like to add a just a self column to first. Let's just do a self column as we have here. Why does this look so strange then? Should really say something here. Yeah, so why it looks strange, why I'm confused is because the main view model didn't have placing containers, and then using a list view inside something that is grid based isn't really supported. So what I should have done is add a placing container here so that there's something to live in, and also then I would need a placing container here in the end so that there's something to live in. So now each store location will be showing here, and then there's a self, and that dereferences or is what we call cursored. So for each row I select here, the details will be shown here. Let's see if that is correct. So I'm gonna find a browser, take one here then, and go to localhost, and oh my god, this isn't the right browser. So I'm gonna start it over, stop that, and head back to web edit and make sure that this is started, and got some breakpoints that I don't want. So heading over to live edit, we should see it here. And memory is short, so what was it called? How do I get here? And value store. So for each row in store location, I get this. Hi, I'm breaking in here because it was apparently a bad day for demos. So the things that I wanted to show were all hampered by bugs. Those bugs were fixed later that night, and today it's one day after, and I'm just doing this patch piece to say what I meant to say, or show what I meant to show. So the thing with the new thing that I discussed was this decursoring or dereferencing. When you have like self and points down to another thing, another nesting, we normally dereference that and point that nesting to here. So that will mean that this is store location. What we do is when dereferencing cursor something is whenever we point to one of these lines, these values that are actually outside the list view will be updated. So if we try this in live edit, it will look like this. So when I point to this row, and these are updated, this row, these are updated. And that might be just exactly what you want. But then the thing that stumped us, that was a problem, was when one of these self-references actually was a reference to another view model. Let's see how that would look. So I'm going to add a generic column and call that, and have the expression self. And since the expression is self, I have the possibility to mount another view model of that same class. We can do that over here actually. So in advanced edit, on this one, I'm going to mount another view model and of this same class, which is store location. So I have a store location document, and I'm going to bring that in. So that means that the store location document is dereferenced and ends up down here. And I'm going to bring that up in a browser, store location value store. So when pointing to this row, I can see that this store location document is updated. And that's fine, but it might not be exactly what you want. What if you would want this whole thing to be on each list view row? So that was the issue that we were facing, and that's why we introduced a new setting to explain that this is what we want to do. Include here. So what we can do now is say that we should include it here. And what happens then is that document, the brought in view model, the mounted view model, is available on each list view row instead. So this is the document for this line, and this is the document for that line. So that's a new feature that can be quite handy. Of course, and what I also wanted to mention is that this include here is controlled by a tagged value, but since we have quite a few of no, not that one, on this column here, tag value, include here. But I tested, sort of broke the pattern on how we usually do this, so I added a checkbox for this instead. So that only actually sets the include here tag value. So that's good to know. And also could you also do this for the dereferenced internal things? Include here, and you can, and then they will be brought in on their position. So if this column was the last column, then all the dereferenced thing will be on each row like this. Good. Let's just quickly mention on some other UI here that since I broke the pattern on IncludeHere, I also decided to break the pattern for multi-select and editable. So multi-select is a tagged value that controls if you can have like this to select many, and thus updating the v-selected. So those can now be set directly with this checkbox, and then you can't select many. You can still do cell select, but you can't select many rows. And the same for editable. Now these are rendered as rows that can be edited in place. But what if we don't have editable? Then this is a much more simpler grid with just text, and there's no way to actually click or change data here. So editable and multi-select only sets these tagged values. So these were the things that I wanted to correct. The reference routed, view model in list view, and also there was a problem with live edit, and that is now fixed. On the demo I couldn't do like this, and this read updated directly, so description is now before as string, and changing it back as string is now before the description. So that now works, and also the checkbox for multi-select and editable. Good. So that was basically the things that I wanted to correct. Bad day for demos, but let's move on and not be discouraged. Any questions on things that work? Damien, is commonly referred to as vibing on the internet these last months. So what?
I'm not up to speed, so I now know a new term. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have quite a few places where we started to use this terminology to what we need to get going. So maybe we have a blank diagram like this and we want to get going, and then we are now allowed to have a plan for what we want in this diagram. And that's a any kind of text, which I guess I won't be that good to write. So I'm asking Copilot, make up some require for a system that yeah, what is it that you do, Damien? Auto shop and parts and stuff. So these are the functional requirements: customer management, work order processing, billing and invoicing. Sounds familiar? So I'm just going to paste that in here, ask the AI to vibe some information classes and associations and attributes and things from that text.
Is this Visual Studio vibing, or is this MDriven?
So this is MDriven, but if you run the designer in Visual Studio, you have the same access to this vibing here. What we do is in the backend we use currently we use Gemini 2.5, and so that will help us to both I'm gonna do some layout here to avoid collision. So it has supplier and part usage and service item and invoice on a work order and returns of a service item and a mechanic. So what we also do is do the view models based on the what we call them, auto forms for these classes. And so that's pretty cool, because that means that we immediately have a system that's sort of runnable for this, and we will have, let's head over here. We should then have seekers, so we can search for a part. But of course, there's no data, so it's quite boring. And then the obvious next step for vibing for us was to start this against the debugger. And what if we could vibe some test data based on the diagram that we have? So what we do now is that we take this diagram, look at all the classes available on that diagram, and try to have the AI make up some useful objects that fulfill those classes, and set the attributes to something that's representative for what it thinks it's used for.
That's cool.
So when that works, that's really cool, because that means that you can actually do a demo just from text. So you just get the text on the requirements, and you get the diagram, and from there you have the diagram, so you know the scope of the information, and you head over to the debugger and have it.
The structure doesn't look too bad, honestly. It's not totally filled out, but
yeah,
I don't know that it looks wrong.
No, so it quite often does quite okay. Just gonna see if, yeah, okay.
So can we iterate though? Let's say you vibe and it generates this model for you, and you go, oh, I don't know, I need some kind of structural change. So
yes,
I change my requirements.
yes. So what we do when we send this to the AI is take everything that we already have on the diagram and append it to the text of what we want, and then it figures out if it should just add or if it should bring in something completely new. So that works pretty good to iterate to get some more things. What we got now was that it created 29 objects for me here. So I can see what it has created. If I click one of these up, it ends up on the other screen here. So this is a service item, and then it has filled that with some texts and all the, it knows the different types, so it fills in numbers and associates things to the best of its ability. So this one is connected to a work order, and I can open the work order and see that the warp coil degradation and erratic impulse drive. So I think I asked it to be a bit of humorous when wiping the test data, so to not confuse it with official data. So now I just save this, and that means that my application actually has some data in part seeker dialog, and I can click up that part. Yeah, let's do this in the bigger browser too. I'm gonna go here, upload and seekers, and I've vibed a few things so it's full. Where's the part seeker?
It's right there. One more. Right
yeah,
there. Yep.
good. And so I'm gonna search this one and then bring up so this is the information for this particular part, and I can see that it's used somewhere. So I can go into the part usage. It's missing an action here. I would like to have an action of the part usage. So, but still, you can get really far. Let's see, actually, part document. So this is the part document and actions, and there's one opted out. Yes. So this is also a new thing that has been evolved since last we had this meeting. This default opt-out thing allows us to invert the opt-in, what actions will show, because as always the actions has been automatically popping up if they match on type. And that's very good when having small systems that we work with, but it can be quite annoying having a large system where there are a lot of different use cases for the same type of class. And then as the system grows, the, what do you call sannolikhet in English?
Probability.
Yeah, thank you. The probability for the action being correct for this use case plummets the bigger system you have. And then it's actually good to put on this default opt-out instead. Then it will warn you when default opt-out is true, new class actions will be opted out until explicitly opted in this view model. So this is much more stable, good for keeping status quo. So nothing changes just because you add a class action on this view model, which has this checked. But when default opt-out is false, matching class actions will be available until explicitly opted out. And that is what we call dynamic. So that's good to maximize action access. So this is good to know. And there hasn't been any information about this really except this. And what we also did, because that might be quite burdensome to do default opt-out on each and every view model, and if you have many developers they will definitely forget. So you can set this already on package level, actions default opt-out for new view models. So if this is checked, all new view models will get opt-out default. And if that is not enough, because you have a backlog of, let's say, 1,000 view models that you would want to have this setting on, and you are reluctant to go into each and every one and check this box, there's also a quick one under extras, convert all view models to actions default opt-out. That will loop through all of them to update this. Anyway, let's check this. So maybe we have invoices as well. Yes, we have an invoice, and we can go to that invoice and see that it was paid in Federation credits. That's good. Yeah, so those are two vibing things? But we have a couple of more vibing things to help us if we want to get results, big results without big work. And one of them is the theme styling. So maybe I want to get away from the default styling, and then I'm gonna do a prompt for the style I wish to have. And that style is gonna be Aga, make me proud. I guess that will sit nicely with my so I'm coming for it, Damien. Are you feeling threatened as of yet, or is it okay with my new AutoPart system?
I can retire, I think.
So you never know what you're gonna get with these things, but you're always free to try again, so that's good.
It'd be great if it's easy to play with this in an existing system without blowing up your system.
Yeah, so and that's one of the main concerns, that if you bring out a tool which you think is quite interesting to try and you use it, and it's like taking the hammer to your grow house, or what you call it, it's not good. And we recognize that, so we try to keep everything limited to the scope where you're working. So in this case, when you wipe information, It's just on this diagram. And what that will do is it will bring in things on that diagram, and if it finds that it would need something that you already have, sys user, it will bring that in as a reference. It won't create a new one. So it's quite good at that kind of isolation. So let's see what it did here. I guess, oh no, I pressed again. That was not what I intended to do. Now everyone will say, why don't you have a cancel button on this little thing? And yes, that would be good, but I don't. So what?
Yeah, I have a cancel button.
No, it doesn't. But you can always walk away and never mind the result. And
yeah, of course.
So that's what one usually does with the long-running HTTP requests. Just give up and don't care about the answer. So we will wait for that one. Once that comes back, we also have two more vibing things. One is brand new, and I'm not sure of it quite yet. So come on. So as this text that it will produce is quite long, I guess we can just take this text. What it does is it's writing character by character, and that sort of takes time. I think it's really fast in reading the prompt. So if you ask it for something short, it's always fast. But if you ask it for something that actually is a long answer, it will drag on, depending on how big it thinks the answer needs to be. But surely you must be done by now. And that's also a good, would be a good thing to see some more feedback on what it does. But I haven't figured out how to stream the things back. I'm just waiting for the result.
And even if you stream them, I suppose you wouldn't know beforehand how long that stream would end up being.
No, correct.
So it's like 0% of unknown.
Yeah. So you can do it usually takes 2 minutes, but then you end up at 100% and 200% and 300%. Might be just trickery.
You just restart the counter. You go 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Then 0 to 100. And then you do it again, and then you stop some arbitrary place when it's done.
Just like they do it on the subway when the train is supposed to come and it didn't, then they start over.
They just add a random amount of time, it seems.
Yeah. Okay, but this was exceptionally long because maybe it got mad that I restarted it without trying the result, and then it's gonna outdo itself. So I can just mention the other vibe techniques while we wait for this. Oh, was it done now? So I'm gonna update the styles, and I guess I need to save it now because it has a hard time. Oh, that was extremely disappointing. Was it like... So this was the one that it did first, but I didn't apply. It did a lot. I'm gonna take that one, and doesn't seem to have done anything. I thought it should change some colors. Okay.
Well, maybe it doesn't like MAGA.
No, maybe it was a bad prompt. But the other things that we have, probably not going to run them now, but I'm going to describe what they do, is this vibe information content, and that one is new. And what that is supposed to do, well, I guess I can run them. I'm going to delete some obvious things here, because the idea behind this is to look at what's in the view model, compare that to what could be in the view model based on type, and then have the AI figure out if it's a good thing to add it or not, based on what the plan for the view model is. So having knowledge about what could be added easily, both in attributes on the classes available, and first degree association from the classes available, single association, and all those attributes, and the plan, and any code comment that you have on the attribute and the attribute name. It could reach the conclusion that it should be a good thing to actually add. Okay, I have a breakpoint. Many breakpoints today. Could be a good thing to actually add some things, or that you're fine, and or overage, that you have too much. So that's what it came back to here. So this is a bit rough because it's still work in progress, and there's apparently no scroll bar. So what it says here is that part usages with the as string column, that's considered metadata, and quantity used and other specific fields provide more relevant information. So it's suggested I should drop this one, and then that will be removed from the site. This is a precision tool, and the AI gives you all what it suggests you to do, but you are supposed to do it yourself in the end, pressing the drop or the add fix. So it also thinks I should drop the GUID from the part usages. I'm going to do that as well. And it thinks I should add the pre-part change time. That's useful for auditing and understanding when the part's details was last modified. Okay, I might want to do that. So I can use these buttons to sort of, I'm not sure, this is, okay, I have a breakpoint and I have some crappy errors. So this one was brand new. I'm still work in progress, but I think that's actually quite useful once it's operational, that you can, and this was just information on what I actually got back from the AI. So the idea is that it should be easy to extend a rough view model with extra attributes based on the plan. And this plan is always included in any prompts that we do for view models. And when this was created from, that is the plan that the AI provided to why we should have this UI. So everything is quite neatly knitted together with the keeping context on why the AI from before thought that we should need this UI, and then the AI from now could use that information to continue work if there has been added classes to, or if the AutoForm has added things that we don't really like to see in an operational UI. Good, huh? The second one, why UI design, is that it revamps how it looks with placing containers. So it will take a static view model and spit out something that's made with placing containers. If you don't like what it does, you can always just press Ctrl Z to get back to where you were before. And the third one here is why the current description of what we have. So that's just filling in this textual description of what this UI does. So
when one wipes, does it look at what's currently there, or is it just putting new stuff in?
No, it always gets a lot of context. So that's why we have to reduce. We can't vibe without context. So in the diagram, it will grab whatever is here, and depending. So what I can do is amend my prompt with something that I think it has missed. Add info about how to scrap it, and that shouldn't mess up everything. It should just surgically insert things that it feels is needed for tracking scrapping. That was fast. Vehicle scrap from vehicle. And it's a 1-to-1. That's good. You can only scrap it once. Good.
But if it's a 1-to-1, that's a modeling error.
Since it added the composite aggregate, it's okay because then it knows where to store the key. If it wasn't a composite on this end, you would get a modeling error. So where's the okay? So this is hard because this is the composite end and the diamond is drawn on that end. So none. And now I got a breakpoint. Got that. Now it says both ends are embedded and you need to choose one. So I'm gonna choose that one and say that embed both ends are embed true, but I can just say that one of them is false. What this means is when you go to a SQL server, there won't be a foreign key in both tables, just in one table. Because if we put a foreign key in both tables, there's a possibility that we start to get things that point crosswise and doesn't add up. The result is not the same when you go from that end as it is as when you go from the other end. And just to avoid those kind of inconsistencies, it's a good fifth form normalization scheme to don't have double pointing keys. So that's the fix for that, but that is done automatically also if you say that this is a composite, which then it's helped to pick one of the ends for you.
And I suppose that makes sense. If the vehicle ceases to exist, the vehicle scrap instance shouldn't exist either.
No,
Because
yes,
you
of course.
can't scrap a vehicle that doesn't exist.
Correct. So that's one of the good things of composite, its ownership. So when the vehicle is deleted, also the vehicle scrap will be deleted. Of course, in this case, you might argue that the vehicle ceased to exist, but the scrap continues to live on. But of course, this is a model. You will always have a reason to update and change depending on what it is that you want to make happen. So good. Sorry for the many issues. I think the two main issues is the reference cursor thing that didn't seem to, when you select one thing in a list view, the details should be updated, and that seemed to be broken. And also the auto refresh of the turnkey live edit seems to be not happening today. So I'm going to investigate those two and post when that's fixed. But these things that I've shown are readily available. So please try some vibing. It's quite fun to just whip something up and press play and see what you get. Of course, it doesn't do exactly correct each time. You might end up with some modeling errors, but those are easily fixed or deleted or anything to move on. And combined with a generation of demo data, you really get a feel for if this works or not, where you want to invest in building something or not. Very good. So we are out of time. We're gonna take the summer break now and be back in August.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a nice summer.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
It was
Yes.
nice. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye
Thank
Hope
you.
you're
bye.
right with Damien, how he left on this.
Hi, Alex.
ship.
How you, Dennis?
Nice to